Hi everyone, my name is Dennis, and this is an X-Mode debrief. Today we're going to be doing a review on the GoPro Fusion 360-degree camera. You may know that 360-degree cameras have been commercially available since about 2015. The Fusion was announced in April of 2017 and released on November 21st. Of course, we pre-ordered it at $699. We had to check out what the sub-$1,000 360-degree camera was all about. Now, this is not a sponsored video. We're not being paid for this. You're just going to get an honest review from us today on this brand new camera. There haven't been very many good options on a hobbyist and entry-level professional budget. This is GoPro's third attempt at a 360-degree camera. Previously, they released the Odyssey and the Omni, which each had 16 and then 6 individual cameras mounted on the rigs. The new Fusion has only 2 cameras, each capturing a full 180 degrees to create that stunning 360-degree video. So what exactly do you get when you buy a GoPro Fusion? Included in the box is this sweet case, the camera body itself, and this awesome stick that'll telescope and also act as a tripod. You also get one battery for the camera, but no SD cards, so be sure to buy some of those as well. Let's take a closer look at the vital statistics on the GoPro Fusion. We believe the aperture is an f-stop of 2.0, however this is not confirmed by GoPro, this is just based on our own research. The supported video resolutions are 5K at 30 frames per second or 3K at 60 frames per second, and the ISO is dynamically adjusted from 100 up to 6400. The Fusion takes 18 megapixel spherical photos at an ISO of 100 to 800 in either a single shot or burst mode that can be up to 30 stills per second. Both modes support GPR, which is a RAW format based on Cinema DNG. In our experience, the GoPro Fusion has a battery life of about 2 hours, depending on what features are enabled, and to recharge it from a completely dead battery, it's going to take you about 4 hours hooked up to a regular computer, but with the GoPro Supercharger, this gets pushed down to under 2 hours. We have 2 128GB SD cards inserted into our Fusion, and it is reporting that it has 221 minutes of usable recording storage space. This comes out to a little under 1.2 gigabytes per minute when recording at 5K 30 frames per second. The Fusion's shutter can be held open up to 30 seconds to allow for long exposures. For storage, you have 2 removable SD cards that operate at 100 megabits per second, and the charging and data port is a USB-C connection. The GoPro Fusion is not just your average action camera with 360-degree field of view. This little guy is packed with a ton of new features and technology that completely set it apart from any other action camera or 360-degree camera that has ever been released. You get your choice of 3 video formats with the GoPro Fusion: H.264, Cineform, and ProRes. If you don't have a separate suite of video editing software like Adobe Premiere or Apple Final Cut, then H.264 is going to be a great choice for you. It's already compressed and pretty much a finished product. If you're a more sophisticated filmmaker, then you already know that the low-loss formats like ProRes and Cineform are going to be your best bet. We recommend sticking with Cineform, which was developed by GoPro, because it has become the de facto industry standard for 360-degree VR videos. The Fusion also supports a GPS tagging mode. Pressing the shutter while recording will place a GPS tag in the video at that instant where the Fusion is located. Another cool feature of the Fusion is quick capture. So let's say you're hiking in the forest and carrying the Fusion on a stick just like I have it, but it's turned off. You weren't expecting to film yet, or you're not in your location. And let's say you see a huge grizzly bear rear up 20 feet away from you. Now some people might run away, but what I would want to do is capture that moment. So you just tap the shutter button real quickly, the camera will wake up and start recording. Another way to use quick capture is to create a time-lapse segment. Instead of tapping the shutter button, if you press and hold it, the camera will wake up and create a time-lapse segment of that moment. The physical controls and buttons on the Fusion are very easy to use, and the menu layout is the same as the Heroes 4, 5, and 6 that we've come to know and love. But depending on where you have the Fusion mounted, you may not be able to reach it to press a button. In that case, you can use voice commands to control the camera remotely. We at Xmode have come up with the strictest, most scientific method of testing the voice activation feature, and we're quite pleased with how this camera responds to different voices. GoPro, start recording. GoPro, stop recording. Alright, GoPro, start No, I didn't tell you to just actually start nothing. Yeah, GoPro, shoot burst, see? GoPro, get to the chopper and start a time-lapse. GoPro, start time-lapse. Dude, that was sick. GoPro, turn off. Happy, joy, joy. GoPro, get to the chopper and start recording. Bling! Just like the newer Hero cameras from GoPro, the highlight feature is also supported on the Fusion. If there's a cool moment that you want to bookmark for easier editing later, you can simply tab the mode button while recording or use the voice commands like GoPro Highlight. The Fusion also has a small side door where you can access the USB-C connection. This is especially useful for continuing to charge the camera during those extended filming sessions. If you've misplaced your Fusion or lost it while recording, there's a Find My Camera option in the app. All you have to do is connect to the Fusion, open the app, navigate to Settings, and Find My Camera. When you select that, the Fusion will wake up, start beeping, and automatically record what's around it. You can view the live preview in the GoPro app to see what the camera is recording and give you some kind of reference of where it might be. The audio beeping is also a nice cue. But hopefully, you're close enough to the Fusion to where you're able to connect and turn on that option. If not, you might be resorting to the old school method of crawling around on your hands and knees looking for that camera. One of the new advances with the GoPro Fusion is how it performs video stabilization. For most of the other cameras on the market, this is strictly software-based, and that's just a comparison of pixels between frames to try to smooth out the action. What really sets the Fusion apart in this respect is the fact that it has accelerometers, gyroscopes, and a compass built right into the camera. And these are constantly recording how the camera is moving through space and what's happening to the camera body while you're filming. Then later, when you're rendering out the video in GoPro Fusion Studio, all of that inertial data is taken into account and gives you a much crisper, cleaner, more stable result in the end. Like most other action cameras, the GoPro Fusion is waterproof, in this case up to 5 meters or 16 feet. But that's only half as deep as the Hero 6 can go, which was also released in 2017. In our testing, we found that when filming underwater, the stitching between the two cameras has some weirdness and artifacts that get introduced to it. So we would recommend that when you're doing underwater filming, to point one of those cameras in the general direction or subject of what you're filming. New for the Fusion is a 360-degree preview mode that's available right on the app while you're recording. This works by giving you a perspective depending on how you point the phone, using the sensors and accelerometers, the gyroscopes, everything in the phone to measure the movements and show you the video depending on how you have the phone pointed. You can also take your finger and drag that perspective around and even zoom to get a really cool fisheye effect if you want. But remember that this is only going to be a preview resolution, nothing super high quality, but it should also work with a pair of VR goggles if you have them. Another cool feature of the Fusion is being able to shoot in Protune format. If you already know what Protune is and you like working in it, then great. You can go right to the Fusion and not skip a beat. If you're not familiar with Protune, it is a log-like format that kind of flattens out the colors and the blacks in your video, and then in post-production you can go in and have more dynamic range to work with to bring different colors out. Another cool side effect of shooting in Protune format is that you're able to set the ISO limit on the Fusion. The ISO will usually automatically adjust all the way up to 6000, which may not be desirable. Say maybe you're in changing light conditions, or you're shooting in twilight, or maybe it's just starting to get a little darker. If the ISO went automatically all the way to 6000, you can end up with ISO noise or weird effects in your colors. If you shoot in Protune, you can set the ISO limit and get a guarantee that the ISO will never go above a set amount. To go along with a 360-degree footage, you also get 360-degree spherical surround sound. The GoPro comes with 3 microphones that capture the sound coming from the different angles and then allow you to create a 360-degree soundscape to go along with that video. Now, something we noticed about the form factor here is that it actually has 4 cutouts that look like they would be for a microphone. We're not exactly sure what this 4th one on the front is for. We think maybe noise canceling or some other kind of diversity. The mystery remains. One of the coolest new features about the Fusion is overcapture. In order to view 360-degree footage, you would usually need VR goggles or to be at a computer to control and pan the camera to view everything. Overcapture removes that. It allows the filmmaker to crop out a traditional 1080p aspect ratio shot from that 360-degree footage. So let's say you're carving down the mountain on a snowboard with your friend, you've got a Fusion on your helmet, and you want to capture all these stunts that your buddy's doing. You don't have to worry about which way that camera is pointed. The Fusion's going to capture a full 360 degrees of stunning footage. Then you can go into post with overcapture and just crop out your friend and track on him and capture all those awesome tricks he's doing. Alright, so the GoPro Fusion sounds pretty awesome, but how well does it really hold up? We've put this camera through its paces on the mountain slopes, in the air, underwater, and in the office. And we're going to share with you all the things that we love about it, but first let's have a few points of constructive criticism. Our top gripes and complaints relate to the firmware and the software. The camera has a tendency to lock up from time to time, and we have to remove and reinsert the battery to get it working again. This translates to lost filming time, and you might miss a really cool moment that you would have captured had the camera been working correctly. From a post-production standpoint, the GoPro Fusion Studio still needs a lot of work because it crashes very often, and it's actually impossible to export a video that's longer than 7 minutes. The same goes for the VR plugin for Adobe Premiere. It's buggy and crashes all the time too. From a hardware standpoint, the lenses are not scratch resistant and they're not under warranty. So this is one action camera that you have to be pretty careful with. A couple other little hardware bugs that we've encountered are that the microphones don't always seem to work, and sometimes you have to insert the SD cards a couple of times before the camera will pick up on them. The Fusion also isn't on the same level as the Heroes from a feature standpoint. There is no H.265 support, which is a new high-efficiency format that's rapidly becoming an industry standard. There is no loop recording on the Fusion, and you can only take single bursts, as opposed to the continuous bursts that are available on the newer Heroes. When you start recording, GPS data is only added right at the beginning, so you're going to have to use a different device if you want to capture GPS information throughout the duration of your filming. It seems like in this day and age, a lot of products are rushed to market before they're really mature, and that's especially true for the software aspect. We understand that GoPro can fix this with future updates and possibly even add some of these missing features, but it would have been nice to see GoPro release a mature product to the public. Now, with these downsides out of the way, let's tell you how much we really love this camera. The stitching is awesome, and for the price point, it's probably the best on the market right now. Sometimes it works flawlessly, sometimes you can see some warping effects or some artifacts in the video. The mobile app integration is GoPro's best attempt at this yet, especially when it comes to remotely turning on and turning off a camera using the app. Even the newer Heroes are plagued with some inconsistencies, unreliability when trying to turn it on using the app from a standby mode. We have not had any problems yet with the Fusion when it comes to this. Overcapture is one of our favorite features because it gives the filmmaker the flexibility to take 360-degree video and turn that into more of a traditional video format. As far as the form factor is concerned, the Fusion is a clear improvement over the Omni, and it makes a great payload to put onto a drone. The Fusion also works really well in the cold. We've had it in 20-degree weather when some of our Heroes would start having battery issues, but the Fusion kept operating flawlessly. At a price point of $699, you really get a boatload of features. And overall, this is a camera that has brought 360-degree filmmaking and made it available to the average person. Overall, this is our favorite camera right now on the market for 360-degree action video. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click like, subscribe, and the bell, and if there was anything that we missed, please be sure to let us know in the comments.